Does your website need more traffic? Well, visit overflowcafe.com today. They make websites popular, and over 41,000 people use their service to gain more customers. They are winning at business. What about you? Visit overflowcafe.com today.
Hey guys, my name is Leia Rivera, new team player here at Rockefeller's Barbershop. I'm a barber hairstylist. I do braids, blowouts, and balayages, fades, tapers, and military cuts. You can reach me on my cell, 210-570-6126, or on social media at Leia_Princess Barber22. You are listening to I Am Refocused podcast on iHeartRadio.
You are listening to I Am Refocused podcast with your host, Shemaya Reed. This podcast is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. Now, let's tune in into today's podcast.
This is I Am Refocused podcast, and today we have an awesome show lined up for y'all. But before we get right into it, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. On top of the list, Rico Rodriguez, Rockefeller's Barbershop. We here every Thursday doing it here for iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, everywhere, man. I'm not even going to go through the whole list. I want to also give a shout out to Miss Kim, River City Donuts, Baby McClinton, All Sports Speed and Conditioning. Make sure you check out his website, allsportsfitness.net. Also want to give a shout out to D.W. Brooks Funeral Home. And last but not least, does your business need website traffic? If so, you need to go overflowcafe.com. They have over 41,000 clients strong. Since the 1990s, they've been pushing traffic to business websites. So today, awesome artist, Miss Angel Cintron. She's been singing since 8 years old. She's only 19, but she's been making moves since she was, like, just real young, just super young. You're still young, man. You're still young.
Yeah.
How you doing this morning, man?
I'm good. How are you?
So tell us a little about your journey in the music industry. What inspired you to sing for the very first time?
I think that it was something that I thought everyone did. It wasn't something that I think, like, was special or anything that no one else was doing. But I was a little girl, and I just remember every single car ride was a concert, and music was just something that I couldn't stay away from, and singing was something I couldn't stay away from. So that's where it all started at 8 years old. But I didn't start singing in front of crowds until I was about 12 years old.
12 years old?
Yeah. So that's when it all started, but I didn't start writing until I was about 16. So it was kind of like a few years into each little step. And by the time I was a junior in high school, that's when I started actually releasing my own music on iTunes and stuff like that.
And that's a big jump. iTunes and stuff like that. Tell us the process. Like, when was the first time you stepped in the studio? What's that experience like?
Okay. I was 12. No, just kidding. I was 13. And my older brothers, they like to rap. And at the time, they had the whole closet studio thing going on, which these days you don't really need to go to a fancy studio anyways, so you could do it at home. But they would have me write hooks to their songs. And yeah, that's where it all started. And I fell in love with it instantly, like just being in the studio and hearing yourself and just trying to get the perfect take. And I loved all of that. So that's when it started. And
with you being around your brothers and stuff, did they have music out as well? Or were they like producers and stuff like that?
They do. I don't think anymore, but it was more of like a high school hobby type of thing. But my very first song that I ever had produced was from my older brother, and it's actually out right now. And that was like my first song ever. So that's super special to me that my older brother is the one who, like, we stayed up till 5 a.m. doing that song, and I get to say, like, this is my first song ever. Yeah.
And did they play the role in releasing your music? Because I know you were at management. How did that start? Did it start through them, or? It
all kind of happened it all worked out in a weird, puzzly kind of way. Because my junior year of high school is the year that I met my manager, and we met at a boxing event. because they were looking for a national anthem singer,
Nice.
a Mexican anthem singer. And so they called me that morning, and I had to learn it that day. And I went in and I just did it because at the time I was like, any chance that I get, like, I'm gonna go, you know what I'm saying? So I did it, and ever since that day we met, we never lost connection, and I didn't even know that she was already managing artists at the time.
Wow.
So it just kind of, it all happened in a weird way. And that's also the time that I finished that song with my brother. So she helped me distribute it to, you know, all of the digital stores and stuff like that.
It was awesome, though. Local San Antonio. Represent, baby, 210. You know, you travel. Let's get into all that, because you've been in LA and you've been doing concerts and stuff. What was the first time where you had the opportunity to go travel somewhere and do your music branding, music videos and stuff like that?
Okay, so my very first time I went was in LA, and it was kind of crazy because I was in this contest on Instagram, and it was like a singing video contest, and I was competing for a scholarship for a songwriting camp, like a retreat type thing, and it was there in LA, and I ended up being super close, like, to this girl. Like, we were tied, and then she was first, I was first, and finally she ended up winning it, and I got second, and they DM'd me and offered me the same scholarship anyways because of how, like, back and forth we were. So that's how I got there, with that scholarship, and it was amazing. I was there for 5 days. It was my first time out of Texas, period, so it was super crazy.
That's not bad for the first time.
Yeah,
you know.
it was. I'm never gonna forget that, definitely.
When it comes to you marketing, because I'm just saying, you got it hands down perfect on Instagram and social media. You got, what is saying about, you have like over 154,000 followers on Instagram, and let me just say, I checked it out. It's legit. It's legit because the interaction.
You passed your legit test.
I mean, the interaction that you get with people who listen to your music. How did that happen? Were you just doing vlogs and stuff? Or?
No, actually, it was, like I said, everything kind of happened at the same time. So the year I met my manager, my junior year of high school, I got an iPad. And at the time, Instagram was kind of still doing the whole 15-second video type thing. And I started posting singing videos with just 15 seconds. And one day, this big singing account reposted my thing. And from one, I kind of had like my very first viral video. And that's how that started. And now just recently, I'm, moving from that cover artist to here's my own stuff now. And so that's how that happened.
And at a young age of 19, let me just stress that she's only 19, guys. How did, you touched on how you got started and how things started just happening for you. How did you learn to be an artist? Like, I know your management were coaching you and all that, but what's some of the steps that you had to take to transition from covering songs to actually having your own original work?
Honestly, I think that it definitely happened over time, because my very first project that I released was kind of, me puzzling songs together, from the little feelings that I did have. And literally a year from that project now, none of my stuff sounds the same, and it's like every single song grows so much more. Every single song I could tell, I'm a better songwriter now, or you know what I'm saying? I definitely, there's growth, and I don't even know how to answer that question, to be honest. I just feel like me being a young adult, becoming adult, you just get exposed to things and you have more stories to tell through your music. So
you've done stuff with rappers. We're not gonna tone this down. You're not just doing garage band on a mic and putting on iTunes. You're legit. So
thank you.
When it comes to working with other artists like rappers and stuff, was that through your management as well, or was it just the music scene? People started seeing your work and started contacting you?
Yeah. I had to go through a whole year of just doing any kind of show that I possibly could. Honestly, I did anything like bars and clubs and anything just to get people to kind of know who I was a little bit more. And through that year, I kind of made a lot of connections with rappers and with other artists in San Antonio. And it helps a lot that I started off doing the whole thing with my brothers, because I'm kind of used to working with rappers and I'm comfortable with it. So just within my circle and within my producer and the people that he works with, that's kind of how I made all those connections. And they're like all my brothers now. So now I got a big brother, so nobody better mess with me because I have them.
Nah. Rico ain't gonna let nobody mess with you. Trust me, man. He the boxer. He got you, man. But, you know, let's kind of dial back a little bit. So in high school, what was your favorite subject?
In high school? English.
English.
I liked to do like the free write thing just because it helped a lot.
Did you ever find yourself using your music influence in your homework a lot, or not really?
In English, yeah. In English, when we had to do poems and stuff like that, definitely. I hated math. English was my favorite subject, for sure.
And when it comes to, you know, education in school, you know, it's very important to have that foundation in life. What's some of the things that you are learning currently right now with the music business? Because it's a whole different situation when you're doing cover songs and doing things for fun versus is an actual structured business. What's some of the things you're learning?
I think one thing I'm learning is to be marketing, like you said, is super important, and everything that you do counts. Like, no matter how small you think it is, everything you do counts. Every song that you put yourself on, every show that you do, every little thing that you post or everything that you say, it counts in some kind of way, and it's going to in the long run if it doesn't at the moment. And I think that that's something that I've learned the most with, is marketing. And my managers have a big role in that. Like, they've taught me a lot when it comes to that. And I kind of just learned to play and see what people react to, more or less. And I noticed, you know, the difference between the numbers of what kind of song that I released and what people like more. And, you know, just paying attention to stuff like that. Because you, at the end of the day, you want to do what you want to do, but you also have to make sure that you were watching what people react to more and stuff like that.
Again, only 19 years old, and she's making some noise in San Antonio and really outside of Texas, so that's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
When it comes to, you're pretty much in the beginning phase of your music career. Let me just touch on this. A lot of people know about the Tobin Center in San Antonio, and not too long ago, you got opportunity to perform on stage at a nonprofit special event doing an honor ceremony. And we had a special guest that day, T.I.
Yes.
Mr. ATL himself. Yes. And you had an opportunity to have a discussion, small talk with him, you know, backstage. How was that moment to be able to see someone at that level as an artist, just to be able to be exposed to that? How was that experience for you?
Intimidating and inspiring at the same time, honestly, because every single person in the music industry has a different pace when it comes to who gets successful first. And that's kind of one of the hardest things to me, is to kind of watch people that are younger or older than you that kind of are doing stuff that you're trying to do, and you're kind of like, what am I doing wrong? But you can't really look at it like that. I would say, looking at him and his story, it just shows that every single person has, like, the timing is right. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to be patient, and as long as you're working hard and you know that you're working hard, then it's gonna fall into place. It's not gonna fall in your lap. You gotta work for it. Yeah. But at the same time, timing is everything, and you can't compare yourself to other people's stories, because every single story is different. So,
see, again, you're gonna get tired of me saying this. 19 years old, and she has the mindset of a veteran in the music industry. I mean, I watch your music videos too. They are legit, man.
Thank you so much. Shout out to Davey. Shout out to Davey for that.
It's HD, and you can tell there's a storyboard, and it wasn't a green screen. You're in multiple locations in San Antonio. What was the process, you know, because you're young, but very successful, at a young age. What was the process of working with a music video director and the company?
It's like my favorite thing to talk about, because it was the most exciting thing ever. Was my very first music video for that song "Break My Heart," and it was not even a year ago. I just found out last night because I was looking at it, and it was 9 months ago, so it's about to be a year. But it was the best thing ever. Like, I think shooting music videos and the process and all the stressful days and getting ready and planning it out is kind of my favorite thing, just because you have an idea, and sometimes we have ideas beforehand and we like have a plan, and then other times we're just like going and just diving in with no clue what's gonna happen at all, and we kind of come up with ideas like on the set and on the spot. So wow, I can't. So Davey, he's done all my videos, and he's from a company called Expensive Worldwide, and they're here in San Antonio. And so shout out to them for sure. And he's very good at working with what you want, and he's an amazing director as well. So that's my favorite thing.
He's not 12, right?
Definitely not.
Okay. Because I'm just saying,
No.
you know all these young people getting them, and that's dope,
for sure. Yeah, that's super crazy. We're planning my next one right now for the song after this one, but each video is kind of its own world. I'm like a wannabe actor for real. Like, I can't wait to...
Oh, you can speak it. We can get the exclusive.
No, seriously. Like, I really want to do like a short film, something with dialogue before the video starts. Something like that, just because it's so fun to kind of put yourself in this imaginary world when you make a music video.
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, like you literally get to create your own little universe in a music video. You don't have no rules, so that's the best part. It's so fun.
I have to ask this question. I know you said your brothers inspired you, but who kept you, if it was your brothers, that's cool, but who kept you so focused on being a music artist? Like, who really kept you as far as marketing, as far as taking it as a business, vision? Who kept you in line?
My managers did, definitely. Okay. They became... they literally adopted me. My managers, Jackie and John David, they're husband and wife, and we've come so far. Like, the three of us, it started off with just us three, and so
that's not bad.
Yeah, and now we have like a team. So it's super crazy how everything kind of came together and felt like that. But when it comes to like marketing and business and what kind of artist are you trying to be, or like you need to start cleaning up your social media and all this stuff, they kept me on my toes about that. They were definitely, I wanted it super bad, and that helped. So knowing that they had that direction, and they were willing to guide me through that, and let me know like what I had to do in order to be more professional and be serious about it, it was them, definitely.
It definitely sounds like you're on that process mindset of, as long as you're gaining momentum,
yes,
keep going, never stop, never pause, never hesitate.
Yes.
What advice will you have for just someone who hear the show and say, well, shoot, I would love to be having 154,000 followers on Instagram? Is that really what it's all about, or is it more than that for you?
No, that literally has nothing to do with it, to be honest.
Awesome.
There's people that barely have 5,000, 10,000 followers, and they're on the Billboard charts right now. You know what I'm saying? It's not really about that, but and some people there's some people that don't use social media. It's a weapon right now. It's something that you have, that I would say that people should take advantage of, for sure. But I would say for anyone that's getting started and stuff, if you do plan on starting your social media as an artist, don't ever get too commercial with it, and always stay true to your real life, and because people want to see your story as well, not just music stuff, but stuff with like how you feel and your friends and your family. Like, you don't ever want to be too
commercial,
cookie cutter. Yeah, you always want to make sure that you are a person, you are a human being, and you're no different than anybody else. This is just a career, and what your dream, this is what you're trying to make happen. So, yeah.
Like I said, 19 years old, man. This is really crazy. I mean, did all this happen the way you planned it, the way you hoped it to happen, or is it kind of more than what you expected?
I would say it's not something that happened the way I planned it. I don't think I planned it in any kind of way, just because I constantly have to remind myself that everyone's different. Like I said, everyone's story is different. So I don't really expect things to happen. I have expectations, but I don't really say, like, if this doesn't happen, then that's it. Like, I suck and this isn't gonna be a thing. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of more like, these are my goals. Like, this is what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna try to do this by this year, this by this year, and I'm gonna work for it. You know what I'm saying? And eventually it'll happen if you just don't stop. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I like keep in my head about that.
And speaking of goals, what's some of the goals that you want to accomplish in a few months to 6 months from now?
I want to get my album. I'm working on an album right now. I have the songs. I have like my little dungeon full of like the songs, but I want to have a track list that is just positively the right one. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my process right now that I'm in. I want to have a full album. I've never released a full album. It would be my first time. I have an EP, which is a small album, but I really want to do that. That's one of my goals, and I just want people to be able to know what kind of artist I am through it, because I feel like I said, every song is kind of a growth. So I just want to see like the difference, the growth between the first project that I did and this one. I'm just super excited. I want people to hear it because it's been a long time.
And I want to ask this question. If you can work with any artist in the world and they were ready to book you tomorrow, who would that be and why?
Bruno Mars. I have so much respect for him, and I always will, because he is the kind of artist that doesn't have any kind of boundaries or box around him. He can literally do a ballad this day and still be Bruno Mars, and he can do an upbeat R&B mix song or a freaking rock song, because he's Bruno Mars, and he put himself in the position to where he's not limited to any kind of style. Like, each one of his albums, he creates his own different sound, you know?
Yeah.
And the fact that he's a performer, a dancer, and a guy with vocals and a songwriter, it's crazy. He's humble at the same time. He came from nothing, so he is super inspiring to me, and it would be crazy.
Hey, Bruno, man, show some love to San Antonio. No, because last week, it's funny you mentioned that, because last week I saw him mention someone asked him a question on Twitter saying, you know, what you think was your best song, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he responded with a drop mic moment. He said, I haven't written my best song yet.
Oh, you see what I'm saying? Like, oh.
And that mindset,
wow.
You know, it tells me, like, that's why he's Bruno Mars. Because he's not in nobody else's lane. He's not biting off nobody else. He's just Bruno Mars.
Yes.
And you're an angel.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You're in your lane. You're only 19. I'm just saying that like 10,000 times today. Because it's mind-blowing for you at that age to have that laser focus for what you want to do in life. What is some advice you would give to just people, you know, in your age group? Say they feel like a big blur, you know, they don't know what they want to try or, you know, go for. What words of wisdom that you can share with them to just get that clarity back?
There's this picture that I screenshotted a long time ago, and it's a picture of an old man, and he's kind of like striving for his goal, and he has like the axe, and it's like a huge boulder or whatever, and he's kind of like at the edge of the boulder, and he gives up when there's like a centimeter left. And I screenshotted it because I have to like constantly look at it, because you don't ever know how close you are, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessarily something that happens overnight, but if you do something that triggers one thing, it could possibly, one day from the next, it could change your career, and it could spark something that could give you that step that you've been waiting for. So if anyone sees a blur or they have a block and they just feel like they can't keep going anymore, please don't stop. You can't stop. You have to keep going. Especially right now in my life, I've been having those moments lately. You know what I'm saying? You don't really say these things on social media. Like, I have to watch what I say. I can't just go wilding out on Twitter and be like, I want to freaking give up right now, because I don't want people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't say that. I just can't. It's not an option. Giving up should not be an option at all. It shouldn't. Just don't make it an option. Don't take no for an answer. You can't stop. That's what I would say.
I can only imagine what studio time is when you and your brothers are around, your manager is around. Do you guys have them type of discussions before you start the sessions or after you start the sessions, or is it just I'm in, I'm out?
No, it's never really I'm in, I'm out. Every song kind of has a different process for sure, but whenever we all get together, we always have those eye-opening discussions, kind of like explaining, you know, even though we're not there yet, we're at the beginning, we're grinding right now, like, we have to notice the growth and how far that we've come. We always have those conversations, and it's super important to kind of remind yourself from where you were at the beginning to where you are now. Even though you have a long way to go, you had some kind of growth. You know what I'm saying? We always talk about that, me and everyone, and it helps. It helps keep going and helps. It's inspiring, and yeah, we're all like a big family, and we can talk for literally 2 hours about that subject right there that I just said.
Let's go into family, man, because let's kind of touch on that too, because get on that, but also the importance of keeping your circle right, because you can't have everybody on the boat. So touch.
That's my best friend. That's my best.
Let's touch on that. Keeping your circle, you know, of influence. Mm-hmm. How do you manage to just keep that super tight so that you don't get distracted?
I would say I literally got like 4 friends, you know, that I consider my circle, my people. I feel like in high school, people thought that I had so many friends, and it was literally people that I said hi to in the hallway, people that are really interested in your well-being, that kind of just walk day by day, and like, I know them and they know me. Like, that's not really what a friend is, so you can't get that mixed up. And I would say a friend is someone that you feel, when you walk with them, you feel like you're with the freaking army, and you feel like you're not really touchable. You feel unstoppable because this person makes you feel good about yourself, and they constantly remind you how much of a good person you are. You remind them how much of a good person they are. I love my friends. My best friend especially.
And what's her name?
Juliet.
Shout out to Juliet.
Shout out to Juliet. But I'm super close with my family. I'm blessed to have my family and to have the relationship that I have with them. The fact that we can all tell each other anything, you know, no filter at all, ever. That's the biggest thing as well. You can't have a mask on with your true friends. There's no such thing as a mask, and you kind of have to. They see you naked all the time, not literally, but they see everything that you think and everything that you are upset about. And I think that's the most important thing, is to just be extremely honest when it comes to your circle and your people. Don't ever keep stuff from them, because it's just, it's not necessary when it's people that you're truly your loved ones in your circle. It's not necessary.
And you mentioned your brothers. How about your parents? Did your parents have any influence music-wise, or they just supported your journey?
My dad actually, he got me my first karaoke machine when I was 8 years old. He's the guy that got me into he made me sing every night till midnight. And it wasn't really like a forceful thing either, because I love to sing, and it was me and him.
You sounded good too.
My dad, he loves to sing, and he kind of introduced me to, all of the old school stuff, every single genre as well. I love rock music because of my dad, and he showed me all his favorite artists all the time, and till midnight, even on school nights, my mom would have to tell us to shut up, literally, because me and my dad will jam, and I still go to his house to this day, and we would just sit there and listen to full albums, watch interviews, watch performances of our favorite artists. Like, that's the bond that me and my dad have. Definitely, he's just as in love with music as I am, and it's something that he can't live without. He can't go a day without jamming out. He can't, and I can't either. It's impossible.
It's interesting that you said that you watch together stories of artists and stuff, because like you touched on earlier, I mean, if you pick every artist that you like, or any successful artist that you like, every one of those individuals has a story. Just like Bruno Mars, just like Angel, What is it about the art of songs that inspires you the most?
I think the fact that there is no rules, especially there's genres and there's categories of what genres are, but you could mix anything up. You could be called an alternative pop or an alternative rock or an alternative rap. It's just, there's just no rules to it. Just like any kind of art, there's no rules. That's my favorite thing about it, is you could be whatever kind of artist that you want to be. You can make whatever kind of sound that you want to make. So that's my favorite part about it. And the fact that you can make a song without any instruments, just with your voice, and there's so many different ways. It's just crazy to me. It's super crazy.
I mean, man, 19 years old, man. When you were out in LA and you was doing business out there with your music and stuff, did you see anything out there that, hey, I can take this back to San Antonio and flip it? Or was it just like, that's cool, but I'm going to keep San Antonio the way I do it now? Like, what? Like,
did I change any of my ways after? Oh, yeah, big time. Mostly my first time in LA, I had just I was still in my beginner phase of songwriting, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what I learned the most from was the people around me. I learned from them. There was people older than me. There was only one other girl that was my age, but everyone was you get to see the different kind of styles of songwriting and how people tell their stories. And I feel like I finally, at that camp, at that retreat, I kind of saw that you didn't have to be secluded and limited to what you said in your songs. My songs are it's like I'm putting my diary, my diary is in my songs. That's literally my diary. That's kind of my favorite way to write, is as if I'm writing in my diary and I'm just telling everyone my stuff. And it's crazy to know that people are gonna know everything about me. I want people to know who I am as a person, not only what kind of music I like. When they hear my song, I want them to know my personality, what kind of person I am, what kind of friend I would be. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff is super important to me. But yeah, when I went there, that changed my mindset of how limited that you had to be as a songwriter. There's no limits, and how open and vulnerable that you could be. It doesn't matter if some people don't mess with the sad stuff. Some people are going to. There's a crowd for every kind of songwriting that you want to do, any kind of genre that you want to do.
Music is an experience that people have, whether at the concert or they're on their smartphone, listening on their headphones, or they're in the car, driving to work, driving home, on vacation. music is that one thing that gives different kinds of emotions, whether it's,
can
hype,
change your mood in 1 second.
a heartbreak song, or just super jazzy, smooth type vibe. What is the world that you try to create for the people that listen to your music?
I feel like I said, I kind of want to create a universe for every song and every project. But whenever I think about my song and my songs, like the story that they tell, it's kind of a split between me being extremely vulnerable and me being okay with being vulnerable and like I don't need you anyway type thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of empowering, but at the same time, it's like, wow, this is how I feel, and there's no filter about it. Like, I'm gonna cry, I'm sad today, or this day I feel like being a baddie, and I feel empowering. Like, it's every song is different, and it just depends on how I feel. I'm not kind of like one or the other. It's like a blend of those two things, and I would say it's like 50-50 of that.
I mean, there's some details that we skipped about, WNBA stuff, TV stuff, but I got the sense of you, a very humble person who just really want to give people an experience through music.
Yes.
What is it that keeps you humble like that?
I think the fact that at the end of the day, we're none of us are higher than the other. It's not like that at all. Nobody should ever look at it like that. Doesn't matter how much money that you have or what kind of clothes that you wear, where you live, how you look. Everyone is a human being at the end of the day, and nobody should treat anyone like they're higher than anyone else. I think that's something that I've always said to myself my entire life, even before I tried to be an artist or before I did music. It's, as a person, you can't treat people differently. Like, you can't. Everyone should be treated the same no matter what they have or look like. And I think that's the main thing. That's what kept me like that. But I don't ever want people thinking that I think I'm higher than them in any kind of way. Like, at the end of the day, we are all humans. We're all living. We're all striving to do what we want to do, and that's it.
Man, she got bars too, man. She got bars. You need to write a book, man. Because a lot of times, I'll say this: the person who's trying to be an artist or whatever, they're hungry. But a lot of times they get distracted. They look at somebody's chapter 40 while they're only on chapter 2.
Yes.
And they feel like, well, I should be there. I should be doing these shows. I should be on MTV. I should be on BET. I should be doing all this stuff. But if you don't trust the process of developing your craft and developing who you are, people will never get you.
Yeah.
They'll just be confused, like, what are you going to do today?
Exactly.
But what you're doing, I mean, it's pretty awesome, number one. And number two, the fact that you have been able to recognize this way of thinking at your age. I mean, I know your brothers are proud. I know they're super proud to see you just kind of just go for it. What advice would you give to someone out there who maybe they know exactly what they want to do? They want to sing, not me, but they want to sing. What's some of the things they need to do to put in their toolbox and just go for it and just work?
I would say, you mean as in music or anything at all? Like something that they know they want to do? Well, it could be music or just any career.
Okay,
yeah. I think it's super important to get inspired by people that have been successful in whatever you're trying to do, and find the person that inspires you, and old things that they've done, interviews, performances, and stuff that's kind of watch their story, and multiple people that inspire you that have became successful in what you're trying to do. is super important to me. It kind of, whenever I watch a movie or a documentary, it kind of refuels me every single time. There's a show called Rapture on Netflix, and I haven't watched all the episodes, but each episode that I watch is it's crazy how different everyone's story is and how they're kind of all at the same place at the same time. But yeah, that would be one thing for sure, is to get inspired and to find your inspirations and to watch their stories and watch their life and how they've been dealing with things. And another thing I would say is to kind of figure out specifically what you want to do, because there's different things that you can do in the music industry or in the medical field and stuff like that. And I would say just be specific in what you want, even though it's super hard. People could do multiple things as well, but it would be easier to narrow it down, I would say. Sometimes you kind of have to focus on one thing, because if you try to dip your cookie in too many things, it's kind of going to be impossible. You kind of have to find that one thing.
Just one glass of milk.
Yeah.
Don't take
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because in high school, that was one of my biggest things. I loved extracurricular activities. I was, the choir, orchestra, and all the extra stuff. But at the end of the day, cheerleading was my thing. I loved to compete and to tumble and all that stuff. But I had to give it up. I had to give it up in order to put my focus towards music. And of course I miss it. It's like a fun way of working out, but I knew that I had to do that in order to put my focus on something that I wanted, because your time is going to be revolved around what you want to do. So
that's really good what you said about there's certain things you had to give up. Because it's like, if you put too much stuff on you, it's too much weight,
pressure,
and you're trying to make this work and make that work. And I really like the other comment too that you made about being specific, because like you said, in medical or music industry, there's certain job descriptions that you can fit.
Yes.
Maybe you're not a singer like me, but maybe you can be great at marketing artists, branding artists.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can be a music producer, or maybe you can be a sound engineer, master the songs.
Exactly.
When it comes to you having your clarity and knowing exactly what you want in life, because that's another key thing. What do you want out of life?
What is going to make you happy for real, specifically?
What drives you the most? Creating the music, or just seeing people react to it? Or is it both? Is it a combination?
No, I don't think... I think the whole seeing people react to it comes into place as far as a career. But when it comes to what I love to do, it's the whole creating. It's getting my feelings out and putting my diary into songs and making it, at the end of the day, you have to love your stuff before other people love your stuff. You have to be confident in what you do. So the whole people reacting is something is eventually needed when you're trying to do a career out of it, but it's not something that it's not one of the main things. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely something that I hope for, but I'm going to still do me, and I'm going to do what I love to do. I love to create music, and if people want to listen, they want to listen. If they don't like it, it's not their thing, then that's cool. But I'm going to strive for people to listen to it, but it's not my main focus. You know what I'm saying?
I like the answer, because it's another way of saying don't put yourself in a situation where you try to be something you're not.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times you can see, it can be any field, not just music, you can see people who are doing great stuff, have great opportunity, and you kind of want to bend a little bit and adjust something that you really aren't.
Yes.
And you want to tweak stuff that doesn't need to be tweaked. Because it's not that
and that's the further you get from who you really are, that's when you start inching towards that person that they want you to be, and not the person that you are for real.
And I'm sure your management team, they are obviously helping you stay true to who you are, because you probably be independent.
Especially at this age, because like I said, adulthood sucks. I don't know how y'all all survive it. Like,
one day at a time.
One day at a time for real. But, there's definitely, there's little steps that I had to take as far as growing because I'm getting older, of course. But at the end of the day, they do, they remind me constantly, like, who I really am. And when you look at the stuff that you did from the beginning, that's a big thing too. You got to remember why you started this thing in the first place and why you love it so much. Like, you can't ever lose sight of that, for sure.
It's the little things as well, because, you have a nice car or whatever, nice job, nice business.
Yes.
It's all maintenance. Because if you just, I have it, but you just let it collect dust and hope that, you don't ever have to fill up the tank in the car. Like, you're just going to have imaginary gas.
Yeah.
Infinite gas.
Exactly.
How do you keep that balance in life of reality? Like, I still got discipline, responsibility, get up, not be late to the studio and waste the engineer time. How do you keep that balance to make sure that you keep yourself accountable?
Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm growing and I'm an adult. I'm late to stuff. That's probably my biggest thing with myself. That's a thing that I have to get better at. But I think the fact that I have all of these adults, I have so many people that are in my circle that are adults and way older than me and wiser than me, that like I said, like you said, they keep me on my toes. But as far as like balancing it out, I'm still working on my walk. I'm still growing. I'm new to being an adult, and it's gonna get there. But like I said, I'm a flawed human just like everyone else. So
me too.
Yeah.
Y'all can't see my hand, but me too.
Yeah.
Everybody in this room, we all got responsibilities.
Yes.
We all got to get up and pay our bills and go work. Because you don't eat if you ain't hungry. For
sure.
Because a closed mouth ain't gonna be fed.
Yes.
My sister would say that to me. Shout out to my sister.
Yeah, I like that. If you you don't eat if you ain't hungry.
Yeah. I mean, and also too, like she said, a closed mouth won't be fed. So if you don't explore, you don't push yourself, no one's gonna push for you.
You don't know what's gonna work, what's gonna not work. You don't know how.
Because people got enough to push on their own. Why would they try to push your load too?
Yeah.
Like, man, we can go into, because this whole concept of having the same 24 hours as Bruno Mars or anybody else who is great in their field. Do you think a lot of times music artists forget that they have the same 24 hours and they feel like they have to have some kind of secret sauce to get, the music career to take off? Or you think that they're just scared and they're fearful for success and getting the accomplishments that they want for their career?
I feel like everyone uses they manage their time differently. Everyone does have the same 24 hours, but everyone works at different pace, and it all depends on what kind of person you are and how bad you want it and how fast of a pace that you work at. So there's some people that will go grinding every single day, from morning to night, and they'll make their fingers bleed and they'll go ham, you know what I'm saying? And they won't see results and they get discouraged. But sometimes it's more important to, like you said earlier, you said something like, it's all about how big or how important, how much you focus on one thing. Like, you could spend time doing multiple things, but if you don't, take the time to perfect each little thing that you're trying to accomplish, at times it could be overlooked. You know what I'm saying? The things that you do might not mean as much or might not count as much more if you don't focus on each thing and take your time. You don't it's not a race, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's about how you use your tools and how you work for things and how important it happens and stuff like that. So I would say it's about how you use it, not really how fast you're going and how much time that you spend on something. It's take your time for sure, and make sure that you're putting your everything into what you're trying to do. Don't rush through it because you want to get to the finish line with all the greats. You know what I'm saying? Your time will come when it comes. That's how the universe works. That's how God works. It's something that you just have to have faith in, and you have to trust. So
I like how everything ties in together, because I'm going to say a comment to that, but about like a couple of weeks ago, I saw a post. Someone said, like, if I had only 4 hours to cut down a tree, I'm going to spend the first 3 sharpening the axe.
That's what I'm saying. I was trying to find the word. There's like, what is that thing where people say, like, it's not about quantity or quality. It's about quality, not the quantity. Yes, I was trying to say that. Jesus, I was like, but yeah, exactly. You gotta sharpen that tool before you put it to work.
Because you can't chop a tree with a dull axe. I mean, you could, but
but it's gonna take long. It's gonna you're gonna tire yourself out by doing that.
Because also too, what I'm getting at is a lot of times, especially if you're a music artist, entrepreneur, working in corporate, you spend too much time on the wrong things. Like, it's okay to have big goals, but sometimes you gotta focus on the little things that lead you to those opportunities, because that's all it really is. You master this level, get to the next floor, well, that's just an opportunity. But you're gonna have the same struggle, same adversity. It's just gonna be greater. Because every level, I heard this saying, every level there's a new devil to fight you. Because all it is to distract you from the bigger picture. And you mentioned this one key word that I feel is not a detail I want to overlook. You mentioned faith. What is faith to you, and how does that play a role with you as an individual?
I feel like faith isn't necessarily only a word that should be used, with the whole, God. That's a big thing, but faith to me, he's my everything, of course. But when I think of faith, I think of the word trust, and I think of being patient, and I think of how things fall into place eventually, not without you trying, but it's just how everything works, because God works like that. His timing is everything. Timing is everything, and I think it's a big word for me as well, and I think it's a big word that everyone should have in their life for sure. It's a thing that keeps people going, and it's something that people overlook at times when people say faith. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a huge word, and it's like a trust that you have to have in everything that you do, anything specific in a person, faith in a person, or just in general. You got to trust the process, and you got to trust that everything's going to eventually be what it's meant to be. So
I think a lot of times people forget that seasons change, and they change for a reason, and you have to adjust. So, when you're on the journey of your career, corporate, whatever, you're constantly adjusting to situations, because conflict is opportunity in disguise.
Yeah. And
if you don't...
That's cool.
If you don't really...
Come on,
if you don't really look at it in that perspective, then you can be missing out on future opportunities, because today's struggles can be tomorrow's rewards.
Wow.
And as an artist, 19, I'm going to say it again, 19 years old, and you have this very awesome mind.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I don't say that lightly, because there's so many distractions out there. You can be saying, well, I want to sound like so-and-so, fill in the blank. But here you are on the podcast, you're talking about Angel.
Yes.
Angel. Like, what is that one thing, if you can keep that one thing and let go of everything else, what is that? Is it faith? What is it? Is it music? What is it?
I think that it's being happy in life, not necessarily with music. I think the main thing is that we don't ever know when we're about to leave this earth. We don't know when our last moment is, when our last minute is. So I feel like my main thing that I hold on to is the fact that at the end of the day, you need to be happy with whatever you're doing, and you need to have fun and enjoy every little thing that you're doing, whether you're struggling or whether you're in the process of becoming something. That's my main thing, is that I don't ever want to lose sight of the fact that life is not just, you're born and you have a purpose, but at the same time, as you're looking for that purpose, or as you are fulfilling that purpose, you are living a life, which is a huge gift. Like, you know what I'm saying? Every single breath that you take, it's every day, pretty much. I lose that sight all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I have to constantly remind myself that this life is not just, you can't take anything for granted. You can't take any day for granted, regardless of how stressed out you are or how hard you're working for your goals. I want to live life, and I want the people around me to live life with me, and I want to love, and I want to fail, and I want to experience things. Like, that's my main thing.
I like how you said earlier about the whole humanity.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're just human beings trying to survive.
Yes.
There's a post, P. Diddy, and this is all going to tie in together. It's not a left field thing. He made a post earlier in the week about your attitude determines your direction. I think that's very true, because life happens and you can lose it. Yeah. But don't keep losing it, because a lot of times you gotta readjust your attitude.
Constantly, slap yourself in the face.
The bigger picture is this. Yeah. This little situation. I'm not gonna let it kill the whole picture. Yeah. Because like P. Diddy was saying in his post about your attitude determines your direction, where you go. This whole thing, like I said earlier, about opportunity that are missed because we meet these conflicts in our life. Yes. If we don't have the right attitude, we can end up stuck and idle. Yeah. Touch on that, and before we wrap up the show, touch on that a little bit of preventing yourself, or maybe not preventing yourself, but getting out of that time of idleness where you feel like you got to be locked up in a box.
Yeah. That's kind of my trial right now at the moment, is kind of feeling stuck, like you're in syrup and you can't really move because of one thing that just triggered you to be like, is this really like something that I'm gonna be able to do, or is it really gonna be worth it at the end of the day? Like, and me and Juliet actually constantly have to be like, all right, like, it sucks right now. Like, at this moment, I just failed, or I just got, like, someone just broke up with me, or I just, like, embarrassed myself in front of the whole world. But nothing lasts forever. Like, you are in the part that sucks at the moment, but that part that sucks is not gonna last. You know what I'm saying? So, and that goes back to that picture that I was talking about. Like, it's kind of like you never know what little tiny thing is going to happen to change everything. And so whenever you're stuck like that, you kind of just have to make sure that you know that it's not going to last. Like, that part, whatever you're going through, like whether you are upset or angry or you've just failed, like you messed up, it's not going to last.
Really
it's a
like
moment.
That.
You know what I'm saying? It's a moment.
Like my own dad would say, turn the page. You know?
His own dad.
Yeah, my dad, man.
He said my own dad.
It's my own dad would say.
Yeah. Turn the page, man. Yeah, turn the page.
Start the next chapter.
Because, it's not just turning the page, though. A lot of times, like McIntyre said, we put the brush down. Because last few weeks I've been saying the whole, like, your life is a canvas. What you do is to paint, is action. Yeah. And you're creating this masterpiece in a lifetime. But like he said last week, a lot of times we put the brush down because we get discouraged and we get distracted by stuff.
Can't do that.
And if you don't realize it sooner or later, you're going to have a blank canvas. Because you're not
Wow.
working on your masterpiece, you're not working on your craft.
Yeah.
Because you let one situation stop you from going to the next level.
See this face right there? That's, wow. Yeah. That's
So-
a great way to put that.
So tell us, man, what is next for you, man? What is the next step, next project? I know you work on the album.
Yes.
When can people expect that to start being advertised?
I think I have a few more singles to go before I actually start really. I mean, I probably wasn't really supposed to say that I'm doing an album right now, but you know, what can you do? So, yeah, I don't have a release date. Like I said, we're kind of putting the cherry on top. There's a lot of tiny little things that still need to be finished when it comes to actually creating the album. Like, as far as music goes, it's pretty much completed. But as far as all the other details that go along with it, they have some work to do. So I think I'm probably going to do a good 2 to 3 more singles and visuals before I do that.
Nice.
So yeah, I have a song coming out on Mother's Day called Broken Mirror.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. That song is kind of like my hope song. Like everything that we're talking about today is kind of this song that this song is kind of my keep going song. It's kind of, if you miss someone, you kind of see the beauty in everything no matter what, and you gotta keep going. You gotta, you know, like, I'm broken, but I still have hope. That's kind of the message within the song. So, yeah.
That's cool. That's
Super excited.
cool. Now, how can people stay in touch with you, social media, and your website?
Yes. All my social media is on angelcintron.com. Every single link is in that website.
Awesome. Well, today was a dope show. I hope y'all enjoyed it. We had an honor having you, taking
Thank
your
you
time
for
out of your
having
busy schedule to be on this podcast.
Thank you.
Big shout out to the owner, Rica Rodriguez, Rockefeller Barber Shop. Man, you want to come down to San Antonio, man, get your hair cut. And if you're flying in San Antonio, make sure you stop by Rockefeller's Barber Shop. Today was awesome, inspiring like it is every Thursday. We will be back next week, but before I close, like I always say, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.